There are things in this world that represent how cool we want to be. It's what makes a band great, or what lets a magazine ad sell you a shirt. Cool is often undefinable. What works for someone does not work for another, and vice versa. I'm writing this and listening to the Viagra Boys. The Viagra Boys are cool. Rock stars in general are cool. One night, I was a rock star. It was the beginning of the rise of the Jersey Shore TV show. Everyone seemed to be in love with my area's trashy beach culture, yet eager to redefine it. The boardwalk was filled with euphoric teens emulating the style that they had seen in movies and television. The clubs were filled with hipster Italians with New York City money. I had my bars in the area that I liked, most of which had dirty bathrooms. Layers of painted-over Sharpie memorials and funny jokes covered the walls. Johnny Loves Jennifer, summer 2003. Sticky bars with sand on the floor, pool tables missing a ball, and a bartender that would stare at you with blank anger if you happened to ask where that ball might be. Beach trash culture is fun. My best friend at the time, Isaiah, somehow got a job working at the biggest nightclub in the area. The Bamboo was expensive to get in and fairly exclusive. It was a representation of a shift in culture I was against. I want to hear a band cover Sublime poorly and follow it up with an even worse Stone Temple Pilots cover. The idea of a man pushing the spacebar on a laptop while lights flash seemed ridiculous. But you could get a drink there called a fishbowl, so I had some interest. This consisted of a literal plastic fishbowl filled with sugar water, blue dye, and perhaps a splash of vodka or Everclear. It was gross and almost impossible to get drunk off of, but it came with a rubber squeaky alligator in it and an umbrella. The perfect alcoholic props for your summer memories scrapbook. The Bamboo somehow was able to serve alcohol till 4 a.m., later than any other bar in the area, so the line to get in would start to form around 11 and get quite long. I got in the habit of hitching a ride with Isaiah for his shifts. Occasionally I would start the night at his establishment, grab an overpriced drink, trying to find the charm there, failing, and then moving on. Something felt wrong and dirty in a way that I didn't like. Mostly, though, I would wander around drinking the night away. I walked the boardwalk people watching, grabbing a shot and a beer here or there. Eventually, though, my brain and wallet would start to fail, and I would wander back up to the club. He would bring me someone's leftover fishbowl to sip on. I would hang out and watch the world degenerate into slow decay. Italian dudes fighting, women screaming at each other and getting pulled apart by the club's bouncers, people getting thrown into cop cars, inevitably having to wake up their parents to get bailed out of jail. This chaos was fun, but it lacked the nihilistic chic I enjoyed. There was too much testosterone and not enough apathy. One summer weekend, Isaiah and I decided to see if a couple of girls wanted to come out. We picked up Julie and Melissa. Neither had a real interest in going, or a real interest in anything, as they were both goth chicks. Both were severely attractive in different ways. Julie had model bone structure and was rail thin. She had a look that could not be copied. She seemed like she was 6 foot tall, but in reality was only about 5'7". She was apathetically beautiful, which is a rare privilege. Melissa looked like a cosplay model before cosplay models were a thing. She had a cute upturned nose and looked like a sexy raccoon, an adorable cartoon character. We picked them up and headed to Seaside. We smoked clove cigarettes and listened to punk rock on the drive up. We had a plan. Isaiah was going to go in and start his shift setting up the club. I was going to walk the boardwalk with Julie and Melissa and then return later when things were fired up. We strolled the boardwalk, popped into a bar here or there, ordering drinks and sometimes leaving before we finished them. An occasional drunk would wander up to us and say something like, "You guys listen to Marilyn Manson, huh?" We walked and laughed at people as they laughed at us. The night was cooling off and the buzz was right. I steered the entourage back to the Bamboo, which by this time was on fire. The line was 60 or 70 people deep, all waiting to pay $25 to get in. People would hire limousines to drive them 10 minutes to get there, just so they could get out of the limo in front of the Bamboo, just to be seen that way. Expensive shirts, gold chains, and watches were everywhere. All of this pomp to stand in line for 40 minutes, fist-bumping friends as they waited to get in. As we walked up to the line and the noise and the stares, both Julie and Melissa looked incredibly dismayed at the destination. I coerced the mood as much as I could. They started begrudgingly heading to the back of the line as I said, "We don't have to do that, come with me." And for the next 45 minutes or so, I was a rock star. We bypassed all the people who were wearing my net worth as a fashion accessory. We walked up to the door, I yelled, "Yo," and a hand waved. We walked in, no cover, no ID, and no wait. The crowd behind us was annoyed, astonished, and murmured. The assumption had to have been that we were someone famous that they had not heard of. White trash royalty are the words that come to mind. Isaiah met us inside the door. He moved the crowd out of our way and led us to our private table upstairs, the best view to watch the night's chaos unfold from. We sat and had drinks, barely able to talk over the pumping speakers. We watched fights and Melissa and I awkwardly made out a little bit. Isaiah would pop in occasionally and chat Julie up. People would look at us and try to figure out who we could be. The night escalated to an alcoholic mess. You know goth girls are drunk when they smile, laugh, or show any emotion. Everything blurred into colors and noise as the night approached its end. Isaiah got out a bit early, shared a drink with us before driving us home. Melissa and I passed out, tangled up in each other's arms in the back seat. Isaiah and Julie talked quietly. It was a rock star night. The future felt surreal. Within 6 months, both of those girls were dead. Julie committed suicide, and Melissa OD'd on heroin. In retrospect, I guess they were the real rock stars.